There you go.
That's bad. Come on, man. It's an athlete. Come on, man. Oh,
While you haven't smoked since you started training, this is your favorite cigarette. We toast you.
Te saludamos, Ricardo. Sé que no has fumado en varios meses.
Boxing has given us kings of the ring men who carried themselves with pride, honor, and dignity. From Muhammad Ali's poetic confidence to Mike Tyson's raw intimidation, champions have always had their own flavor of respect. But then, there are fighters who cross the line.
Much less insane.
The early going, as he said yesterday, to make him react to me.
When you talk about the most disrespectful champion in boxing history, one name towers above the rest: Ricardo El Matador Mayorga. A man who didn't just fight opponents inside the ring, he made sure to break them mentally outside of it. He wasn't just a boxer, he was chaos wrapped in boxing gloves. Mayorga didn't build his reputation on clean sportsmanship. He built it on humiliation, vulgarity, and the kind of antics that made even veteran champions shake their heads. From the moment he broke onto the world stage, he made it clear he wasn't here to play by boxing's traditional rules. One of his earliest and most shocking displays came after his upset win over Vernon Forrest in 2003.
Of the winner and still champion, Ricardo.
Most fighters would celebrate humbly after taking down a world champion. Not Mayorga. He lit up a cigarette inside the ring, yes, mid-victory, on live television like he was partying at a nightclub instead of standing on hallowed boxing ground.
You started training, this is your favorite cigarette. We toast you.
Te saludamos, Ricardo. Sé que no has fumado en varios meses. Dámelo ahora, dámelo.
That image instantly branded him as boxing's ultimate bad boy. And he didn't stop there. At press conferences, Mayorga would chain smoke, guzzle beer, and insult his opponents to their faces. He called them weak, mocked their families, and laughed as the cameras rolled. For him, the press room wasn't about hyping a fight, it was about psychological warfare.
well, that's bad. Come on, man. It's an athlete. Come on, man.
And the dirtier he could play it. This wasn't a mask. This was who Mayorga was. He cultivated the chaos, leaning into the image of a street brawler who happened to wear championship belts. He taunted legends, shrugged off respect, and used vulgarity like a weapon. Every move was designed to make sure his opponents walked into the ring already beaten in their minds.
To me, good right hand by Mosley.
By the end of his first big title run, Ricardo Mayorga had already written himself into boxing history as a man who blurred the line between fighter and showman, lighting cigarettes in the ring, spitting insults outside of it, and turning every fight into a circus of disrespect. And for Mayorga, that was just the beginning. Ricardo Mayorga decided to take things even further. He made his name not only through shocking victories, but by turning trash talk into an art form of pure disrespect. One of his most infamous habits, targeting opponents' families. Mayorga didn't just insult the man he was fighting, he went after their wives, their mothers, and even their children. Before his 2006 fight with Oscar de la Hoya, Mayorga unleashed a tirade of personal insults, calling De La Hoya a disgrace, and even going so far as to verbally attack his wife. It wasn't just pre-fight hype, it was venom, designed to dig under the skin in the most personal way possible. And if that wasn't enough, Mayorga made a shocking move. He claimed he would make Oscar quit like a little girl and promised to humiliate him in front of his family. This wasn't just trash talk, it was a declaration of psychological warfare.
Faltaste respeto a dos cosas que yo amo. Dos cosas. Ayer dijiste algo de mi esposa y ahora mencionaste mi raza. Y con eso no se juega. Y te voy a noquear. Mayo 6 te voy a noquear.
De La Hoya, normally calm and collected, was visibly furious during their press conferences. That was exactly what Mayorga wanted. But Oscar wasn't the only target. Against Shane Mosley, Mayorga once again disrespected boundaries most fighters would never cross. He showed up to the pressers chain-smoking, mocking Mosley's clean image, and even at one point grabbed and slapped Mosley's girlfriend on stage without consent.
There you go.
It was an outrageous stunt, one that shocked the boxing world and further cemented Mayorga's reputation as the sport's wildest loose cannon. And this wasn't just an act for the cameras, Mayorga lived it. He would proudly declare that he trained on beer and cigarettes instead of diet plans and nutrition. He bragged about staying out late at night and claimed he didn't need discipline to fight. To traditional boxing purists, it was insulting. To Mayorga, it was just his way of showing the world that he didn't care about anyone's rules. By this point, Mayorga wasn't just a fighter who disrespected people. He was redefining what it meant to be a heel in boxing. He had turned press tours into personal attacks, fight promotion into circus theater, and his own career into a non-stop headline of controversy.
Mayorga's cigarette is illegal in the state of California.
By the time Ricardo Mayorga entered the final years of his career, his reputation was already set in stone. He wasn't remembered for technical brilliance or flawless skill, he was remembered for being boxing's ultimate loose cannon. And instead of toning things down, Mayorga kept doubling down on his brand of chaos.
I better get ready.
Then came his clashes with Miguel Cotto. Even though Cotto was widely respected as a humble, disciplined champion, Mayorga treated him no differently than the rest.
Tu carrera has abierto la boca y en las peleas que has tenido que sacar bravura, no lo has hecho. En todas has fracasado. Tres veces campeón del mundo. 4 veces campeón.
He mocked Cotto in interviews, belittled his accomplishments, and promised to knock him out in humiliating fashion. But when the fight happened, Cotto dismantled him.
To see how close he was, Ricardo left hooks to the head by Cotto. Okay, says Ricardo, come on back and try that again. And Mayorga with the left uppercut got through. Another jab now.
And yet, true to form, Mayorga still refused to give Cotto full credit, proving once again that his pride was as unbreakable as his insults. Mayorga also became notorious for what happened after the fights. Unlike most fighters who show respect in defeat, Mayorga kept his clown act going. Sometimes he would storm out of the ring before giving interviews. Other times, he would shout at fans, blaming referees, or even accusing his opponents of fighting dirty. For him, there was never a quiet exit, only more controversy. But perhaps the most lasting image of Ricardo Mayorga is how he carried himself even as his career declined. By the 2010, when his prime was long gone, Mayorga kept showing up to fights against younger, stronger opponents. And yet, instead of approaching them with humility, he stuck to the same formula, smoking at weigh-ins, insulting families, and making circus-like entrances. Even when everyone knew he was past his best, Mayorga refused to drop the act. And that's what makes Ricardo Mayorga unique. He was never the most skilled boxer, he was never the most disciplined, but he was unforgettable because he made boxing feel unpredictable every single time he stepped into the spotlight. For some fans, he was hilarious. For others, he was infuriating, but no one could ever deny that Mayorga left an impact. And there you have it, the wild, unapologetic, and downright chaotic career of Ricardo Mayorga, a man who never cared about tradition, never respected the gentleman's rules of boxing, and built his legacy on pure disrespect. Some fighters are remembered for their skill, some are remembered for their titles. Ricardo Mayorga, he's remembered for lighting up a cigarette at weigh-ins, for slapping champions on stage, for insulting wives and families, and for turning every fight into a circus before the first punch was even thrown. Love him or hate him, Mayorga made sure you could never ignore him. And that's why, no matter how many legends boxing has produced, his name will always stand out for being the most disrespectful champion in boxing history. So now I'll ask you, do you think Mayorga's antics helped boxing by making it entertaining, or do you think he disrespected the sport beyond repair? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and stay tuned because next time, we'll be diving into another unforgettable story from boxing's brutal history.